What's up, YouTube? For today's video, with a full Shell Moves Pokemon team. I haven't done a specific move team in quite a while, so I thought I'd give the Shell Moves one a try today, and it's extremely limited. So we got Shell Sidearm, Shell Smash, Shell Trap, and Razor Shell. I also thought it'd be pretty funny if I threw in Shell Armor as well, but boy, this is super limited and difficult to do. If you do want to check me out on Twitch, people, this is where I do all my live streams, theme teams, Pokemon sweeps, all that other sort of stuff, and we have a quick little sponsor right now. Hey people, are you after a free mobile game to play that costs you nothing? Well, this hidden gem, Raid Shadow Legends, could be the one for you. Raid has over 600 champions with unique factions, each with their own history in the world of Teleria. Raid has a ton of bosses. A secret one in particular is Sylvania, Guardian of the Spirit Keep. In the boss battle versus Sylvania, she heals her health every turn and deals bonus damage on her remaining health. This month, there is a fresh rotation of the Hydra boss, events and tournaments every single day. Some of these include special Valentine's Day events to unlock a brand new legendary champion. This is the best time to get started in Raid. If you click my link in the description or scan my QR code on the screen, you'll get awesome bonuses. A free epic champion, Rector Drath, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard to summon awesome champions right away in the game. All the treasures will be waiting for you right here. Thanks Raid Shadow Legends for the channel sponsor. Alright people, let's get into today's battles. I've got 2 of them with the Shell Moves team, and if you enjoy these sorts of challenges only using a specific move, let me know in the comment section. I'd like to do some more of them. So I don't do them all that often because they are quite challenging and can take a very, very long time to get. Alright, first battle here, this is against Sky, and this team was very, very competitive. So I was looking at the team previously thinking, man, I'm going to get like 6-0 here. So first Pokemon we got here is Barbaracle. Now this is an interesting set based around the Razor Shell, and what this move does, Razor Shell, you probably don't really get to see it very often. It has a 50% chance of dropping the opponent's defense, but the base power of it isn't really all that good, and of course it's a physical move too. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to actually make use of Laser Focus and the ability Sniper on my Barbaracle, so I could try and get some big damage on that. Unfortunately, my first Pokemon I came across was Toxapex, and Toxapex is a wonderful, wonderful counter for this team because none of my moves all of them are not very effective against it, so I'm wondering what I can even like do to this thing. So I thought I might be able to hide behind the substitute for a while, maybe hit it with like a couple of crits and that sort of thing, maybe try and force a swap. So we got the Toxapex swapping out there, but it's still going to remain a problem later on in the game. Klefki comes in and gets hit by a Razor Shell. I do a lot of damage there. That was very, very good. So I'm very happy about that. Once again, people, if you do enjoy the theme teams and you enjoy these on the daily, let me know by dropping a like on the video. That definitely helps out my videos and stuff like that. And thank you to everyone that's been doing that. You're the MVPs. So we're going to go for another Razor Shell on the Klefki right there. Unfortunately, it did not take it out due to not being a crit and Reflect being up at the same time. And, you know, the poor base power of the move. Now, Klefki is going to go for a Prankster Thunder Wave here on Barbaracle, and that's going to be very, very bad. The item I've got on Barbaracle is Leftovers too, so once I'm beyond the substitute, I can get some recovery back, you know, and using some of my status moves, that sort of thing. The EV spread is Jolly Nature, Max Speed, and Max Attack. We got Klefki swapping at us. So far, we got some pretty stolly Pokemon. Next Pokemon is Tapu Bulu, another wonderful counter for this team. Except for my Poison type move. That's maybe the only chance I've got of doing some, you know, big damage against this thing. So it's going to come in there and give the Grassy Surge, and that's not actually going to be too bad for my Barbaracle, at least while it's behind the substitute. So go for Razor Shell. What I actually tried to do, I was like, maybe I can get a Fence Drop. That'd be like, really, really handy. And I got one. I was like, sweet. That's going to be good. Now, normally Tapu Bulu auras carry something like Horn Leech or Wood Hammer, so I was very, very scared of those moves. Like, even, let's be real, even just neutral hits from those hit like an absolute truck, so I was very scared, and a lot of my Pokemon on my team were weak to that too, like a lot of them. So here comes Horn Leech on my substitute. Obviously, that's going to break the substitute, and the best thing I thought here is just go for another one. Maybe I can get another defensive drop, and then I either have to sacrifice a Pokemon here or go into a Pokemon that I feel like has a chance of beating him. Unfortunately, I'm going to get paralyzed there, but the grassy terrain and the leftovers is going to bring my Barbaracle all the way up to full health. Now, I don't want to sacrifice Barbaracle just yet, so I thought, okay, there's one Pokemon, actually 2 Pokemon I can swap in here. Let's go into Slowbro Galar, right? So I'll be able to resist that. And this is one of the best sets on my team when it gets going. So they're going to go for a superpower. So I think they were expecting me to swap into another Pokemon there. And unfortunately for the, not the Barbaracle, the Tapu Bulu, it's not going to do much at all. So in this case, I've got a Belly Drum, a Shell Side. I'm getting my words mixed up there. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, that one. Razor Shell and Belly Drum. Now, once again with these teams, right, I want to do damage to the opponent only with a Shell moves team. So obviously I'm allowed to have other status moves to help me, get some strategies going. Otherwise it would just be too ridiculous. So Gengar's going to come in here. Gengar could definitely easily outspeed me here and probably take me out. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for a Dynamax and hope that I get a Quick Draw. And I do. I'm like, this is amazing. Now, the item I've got in my Slowbro is Quick Claw. So I've got both those items. So I've got a decent chance of going first. The EV spread on my Slowbro was max health and max attack, brave nature, 0 IVs and speed. So obviously it's all based around Trick Room. Now, when it's got the Trick Room up, obviously nothing's going to outspeed it when you think about it, because you've got the Trick Room, it's already very slow, and you've got the chance of a Quick Claw and a Quick Draw. So virtually you're always going to be going first, which is amazing. So Gengar's going to get dropped there in one shot. That's also going to put the rain up on the field, boosting the power of my Water type move. Now, this will only last for 2 more turns, so I need to make real use of this, because there's some very, very powerful Pokemon there. Now, as soon as I seen the Gengar go down, I was like, well, I wonder if Toxapex will come in here and they'll try and stop my sweep. And of course they are going to. Now, I was also curious whether they had Haze or not. So I'm going to get another Quick Draw here, which actually did matter because the Toxapex will outspeed me. It's going to get a Baneful Bonker off. So, okay, well, that's fine. At least I can do 1 hit with the Dynamax after this. So here it comes, and I know that it's going to do nothing at all. Slowbros, even with +6 in attacking, the Baneful Bunker, that's really going to power it down. This is probably running something like max health and max defense, so the typical Toxapex EV spread. So, and the Reflector's up as well, So here we go. Let's see how much damage I can get this side. So going for the max guys here, because I know we've got the rain up that's going to help the most, and that hits very hard. That's it, almost a 1-hit KO. This is where things went really bad. So the Toxapex is going to go for a Scald. Doesn't really do a lot of damage, but they get a crit, and most importantly, they get a burn. So that was extraordinarily lucky there, because I feel like at this stage, man, I feel like I could have swept this team. I still had enough health left to live, some weak attacks. So when you look at it, like, what's Toxapex going to do? What's Klefki going to do? Tapu Bulu, what's that going to do? You know what I mean? So we got the Toxapex go for Toxie. I think they may have expected me to swap there, but I'm definitely not going to swap. And Razor Shell actually doesn't even, it fails to take it out just due to, the poor base power. So Toxapex is going to either swap here with the Regenerator or go for a cover or just go for another Scald on my Slowbro. I then get a Quick Draw. I think they were probably going to go for a cover there. That's what I would have done. And here it comes. That's the end of the Toxapex. But the main thing there is Toxapex stopped my sweep by burning me. But very, very lucky. Extremely lucky. So that's the end of my Rain Dance, and also going to probably be the end of my Slowbro too, because, even with +6 in attack, its attack is now half. Next Pokemon is the Klefki. I was like, well, I wonder what it's going to do. Reflector attack me, and of course, it's going to set up the Reflect. So at least I can finish off the Klefki here, and Razor Shell misses. Like, oh, man. So I think at this point, well, the Reflect is going to be a bit of a pain, really, because when you look at all my moves, there's a lot of them that are physical. There's a couple that can be special, but basically it's mainly physical there. So Klefki is going to go down to another Razor Shell from my Slowbro, and I've taken out, half the team. So this is better than I ever could have imagined, really, to be honest. I thought I wasn't going to struggle to take out like a single Pokemon. So in comes Scumbreon here. I'm going to go for a Shell Sidearm. Now this move's really cool because it bases on how much damage you'll do to the opponent. So obviously I had the Belly Drum up, so it's going to do a physical attack. You actually see the difference in animations too. Like, you see the Slowbro whacking the Umbreon with its shell. But if Umbreon didn't have that Reflect up and I wasn't burnt, it would have got one-shotted. And like I said, I was confident I could beat every single one of these Pokemon with that set, but it is what it is. So going to Cloyster now, even though you might think, oh, Cloyster or Shell Smash, that's a good set. Not really. It's not that good. So I'm going to go for the Shell Smash here. Now, I know that Umbreon can obviously carry Foul Play, but I had to go for it because there was a Reflector, right? So getting that boost on my stats here, the EV spread was max Speed, Jolly Nature, and max Attack. I've got, I already said what my moves were. The other supporting moves were Substitute and Aqua Ring. And I've got the ability Shell Armor too, and I've got the item Shell Bell. I just thought I'd add a couple of those Shell items in as well. involved for this team. So going for the Razor Shell on the Umbreon, and obviously it's going to do nothing, you know. I am going to get some health back from the Shell Bell. Look at that recovery there. That's amazing. Umbreon could just basically hit the A button there with foul play, and that's the end of Cloyster. So I'm thinking what I can do to get around this because it'll reflect up and it's a very bulky, stally standard step. So I've got Slowbro, Slowbro's down now. Cloyster wasn't really that helpful here. I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got my Golluspot. Now, on this team, I did have one Mon with Toxic, so I thought, in case I come across amazing counters, like this battle right here, I can look at the counters, like 1, 2, there's so many counters on this team. So I went for Toxic, just to poison the Umbreon. So at least I had a chance of eventually taking out. They may have, Heal Bell as well. I don't really know. Now, the Synchro is going to kick in there and poison my Golluspot. This Golluspot set was Sword Dance, Razor Shell, Rain Dance, and Toxic. We got the item as Damp Rock. So that was there just to power up my Pokemon pretty much with Razor Shell if I'd already used up my Dynamax or didn't want to use up my Dynamax. But yeah, basically it was a setup Pokemon. If I get a bit of damage to Razor Shell, it was okay. Now this Umbreon's going to go for a Wish here, and it's just going to practically stall me. So that's very, very bad. So I had one chance here to take out the Umbreon, and this Pokemon that I'm going to bring out soon is probably one of the strongest Pokemon with Razor Shell that I've got. Just straight up, you know what I mean? So that was my one chance of trying to take this out, but I hadn't actually sent it out yet, and I was trying to wait for that Reflect to end because it was really, really bulky, even, without the Reflect, So Golluspot's emergency exit is going to kick in right there. I might be able to use that for something later, and in comes Kingler. So this is the most powerful Pokemon with Razor Claw on my team. We got a Sheer Force Razor Shell set, Hone Claws, Agility, and Attract. Now, this is actually pretty powerful if I can get a Hone Claws up. Razor Shell has 95% accuracy, so I thought I'd run Hone Claws instead of Sword Dance. So straight off the bat, I'm going to go for the Razor Shell. It doesn't take the Umbreon out. It's so close. And now Umbreon's going to be able to get a Heal Bell off, as well as the Wish it had before. So I had all the moves and everything to get around my Toxic, which is very, very unfortunate. Now, Umbreon's going to have another round of leftovers recovery here, but the one thing here is the Reflect is going to wear off. I was like, okay, this is my only chance. Let's go, Kingler. So here it comes, people, and it absolutely demolishes Umbreon. Once that Reflect went, it was no joke. That didn't even have any, Hone Claws boost up or anything. That's power. Sheer Force in the rain. Out comes Tapu Bula here. Well, there's not a lot I can really do to this thing. Unfortunately, I've lost my Slowbro, which was my best Pokemon against it. So I was like, well, I might be able to get an attack off my Kingler here. Might do a little bit. So go for Razor Shell here. And that actually did very, very good damage. That was very nice. Unfortunately for Tapu Bulu, it can basically press the A button and just get a free Horn Leech KO on Kingler. Unless they Gengar then and, get all of its health back. So that was the one bad thing about leaving Kingler in. But at this stage, what am I going to swap in? Barbarical? You know what I mean? So I thought, well, it's time to go into Golluspot now. I might be able to get a Toxic off. So it's going to go for a Dazzling Gleam there. Golluspot is bulky enough to live that and get a Toxic off here. So I guess that's one thing, but it might be a little bit too late here because, I've only got a couple of Pokemon left. And I've got one more Pokemon that could take this out, but unfortunately it's raining at the moment, so I need to get its health down a little bit more. So I've seen that it's got a lot of physical moves. It's mainly going to be going for Horn Leech, right? It's got the stab from the, from its typing, and it's got the grassy terrain up. So it's now going to go for a Super. I almost swapped in to my Turtonator then, and I think that's what they expected. Turtonator was my other shell Pokemon. I thought I'd say that now, just to explain my thought process was there. I went for another Ray Shell, and that did pretty good damage too from Golluspot. Golluspot's got a lot of attack, so that was some extra bit of damage that I definitely, definitely needed there. So now the Tapu Bulu is down to half health, so I've got a bit of a chance here to do something. Now, the other shell move that I haven't used yet is called Shell Trap. Now, Shell Trap is a very gimmicky move because you have to be weighted to hit by a physical contact or a contacting move, So it's super effective, but I need to be hit by something that's going to be contacted. So I went for the Shell Trap here. Even though it was raining, I thought it's still going to do some good damage. So it's got Rock Tomb as its other move, which is going to be super effective. Turtonator's got a lot of bulk to it too, and my one is max health. And now what's going to happen here, the Shell Trap is going to fire, and since it's raining, it wasn't quite enough to take it out, but with the extra Toxic from earlier on, it's going to be enough to take out Tapu Bulu, which was awesome. So the Turtonator really came in clutch there, getting that last little bit of damage. And I got to say this, that Kingler was absolutely crazy, getting me back past that thing. So we got one more Pokemon left there. This battle actually went for a very, very long time too. I think it was about 1 or 2 minutes left on the game. Look, Garchomp's coming in. I'm expecting some sort of physical move, either be a Earthquake or a Dragon Claw, and now it's just going to be the standard Sword Dance Garchomp. That's like, oh man, this is rough, you know, after all those other Pokemon there. So Shell Trap's not going to work there. The rain's got to stop. All I've got left now is Barbaracle and my Turtonator. At this stage, I thought, well, they could go for another Sword Dance. I also ran Toxic on this as well, just in case that, you know, one of my other Pokemon, my Golosmod, died with that, and they're just going to go for Earthquake. So that's the end of my Turtonator anyway, and I've only got Barbaracle left, and we were down to, like, the last, like, minute here, and that was pretty much the end. You know, Garchomp could have taken me out with the Earthquake there in one shot, and, you know, I lost anyway due to the time and thinking about what to do. Thank you, Sky, for the battle. They just scraped the win there with a very competitive team. I was very happy with how that went. I will say this, that Slowbro, I'd say, would have 6-0'd their team if I didn't get burned. There was a very high chance of that. Next Pokemon battle, this one is against Skylar, and we got a Thief team here. I wonder if you can guess what it is. So, since Barbaracle didn't get too much action in the last battle, I thought I'd swap it as my lead. Now, the first battle matchup here was Ninetales. I was like, well, I don't know whether Ninetales has got a grass move. I'm kind of scared of that. So we got the Ninetales swapping out. So obviously it doesn't have a grass move. And now comes Calyrex. So grass Pokemon were really, really good against this team. So once again, I'm going to be going for the substitute. Actually, I led with this in the first battle. Like, most battles I didn't lead with it. I sort of used it in some other battles, you know, mid-game or late game. So I've got a free sub up here. And now this Calyrex, unfortunately, it's kind of like the very first battle. There was a grass Pokemon with a super effective grass leaf, and it can heal itself. So, you know, first the Horn Leech, Tapu Bullet, and now the Calyrex and Giga Drain. So it's like, man, what am I going to do against this thing? So setting up some evasiveness there, double team was my other move. I thought, well, I might be able to cheese it here. I might be able to get a couple of double teams up, get a laser focus up, wait for the sun to go down, and then hit it with a Razor Shell. Now, that's all I can really do. Unfortunately, my double team only had one of them up. It's not going to work, and Barbaracle was going to get wrecked. So it's very difficult. So I was like, I can only really swap into either Slowbro or Turtonator here. So getting a nice juicy quick draw here with my Slowbro, but we got the Calyrex swapping. I was like, damn, I really want to, you know, do some damage against that. So the next Pokemon's going to be the Ninetales. Ninetales is actually pretty good too because it's going to counter my Shell Trap and it's going to set the sun up too, which is going to power down all my Razor Shells. I actually did very, very good damage there with the Shell Side Arm. It's about a 2-hit KO, so I was very happy with that. Now we got a physical Ninetales with the Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz does a lot of damage there, and I get burned again. It's like 2 battles in a row. I couldn't believe it. I was almost going to go for a belly drum there, but I thought, no, I'll just go for a second one, and I'm glad I did, because if I went for a belly drum there, let's think about that for a sec. I'm just going to have a look at my health. If I went for a belly drum there, what would have happened? I would have probably fainted to a burn. That would have been so salty. Like, anyway, we got the Ninetales on a little bit of health. Yeah, look, I would have died. I would have just got the belly drum up, then died to the burn. And yeah, and even if I didn't die to the burn, Flare Blitz would have taken me out anyway. So Slowbro once again is going to get hit pretty hard by that Flare Blitz, and I'm just going to finish off Ninetales here with a Razor Shell. Not much I could have done there. Poor Slowbro getting some, you know, pretty bad RNG there in both battles. But at least I took the Ninetales out, so I won't be able to, you know, keep putting that sunlight on the field. So Slowbro's probably got one good turn left in it, and it's burned, so it's not going to be doing heaps of damage. And Calyrex is going to be able to come in here. I get a quick claw this time instead of a quick draw, and that's going to allow me to get one Shell Side Arm off. And that was very, very good damage there, so I was very happy about that. If that wasn't burned, I say I probably would have one-shotted it or got extremely close. It's going to have Side Shock, and that's going to be the end of my Slowbro. But a solid performance there by Slowbro, even though I got completely destroyed, right? Next Pokemon's going to be Golosmod. So I was like, well, this might scare the Calyrex off because it is a bug type after all. And the next Pokemon to come in is going to be the Pangoro. So like, okay, what's this going to use? Now, Pangoro might be able to get hit pretty hard. I actually went for Toxic on the Calyrex in hopes that it would stay in, but it didn't. So that's a bit of a shame. But at least I poisoned the Pangoro. Now, at this stage, I thought, well, I might be able to set Sword Dance up here, or I might even be able to go for Razor Claw. Or maybe try and, you know, set up the Rain Dance to help out the rest of my team there. So this is a special Pangoro, and I'm able to get the Rain Dance up here. Now, I think that the next move I'm going to do is going to be the Razor Shell. But the problem here is, right, I think Pangoro is going to be able to put me into emergency exit and, you know, flip me out of this battle. I've probably said Razor Claw so many times in this battle already. I'm thinking of like, Razor Shell. So there we go. The emergency exit is going to kick in. That's such a bad ability, like, on Golospot. Like, they could have given it any other ability than that. Like, I know it can be good in situations, but most of the time it's like it swaps out when you don't want it to. So in comes basically one of the most powerful Pokemon on the team. Watch this. Like, this drops hard. Like, there's no games of this Kingler with Sheer Force and Razor Shell in the rain. Like, imagine, I was imagining myself, imagine if this get, like, multiple Hone Claws. Like, it's so powerful. So in comes the Calyrex. I'm confident that I can outspeed this because I'm running Jolly Nature, right? And then it outsped me. I'm like, oh, it's Choice Scarf. Damn. And this is really bad. This is exactly like the Tapu Bula, right? Because then it just got most of its health back. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do to this thing, right? That goes, like, there goes one of my best Pokemon. So this is where Turtonator had to come in here. I really didn't have much to play with now. Now we got the Calyrex swapping out. Obviously, they're locked into Giga Drain. And the next Pokemon to come in is going to be a Petillier. So like, oh, interesting. But I hadn't Dynamax yet, so I was thinking about this. The rain's not going to help me out very much here. But the thing about Shell Trap, if you haven't Dynamax yet, you can actually make Shell Trap into Max Flare. And that's what I was thinking right now would be a good idea to actually do. And I should be able to drop this. But I was like, well, I don't want to do it just yet. Let's go into Golospot here and let's see what its other moves are going to be. Just in case there's anything scummy. And then to my surprise, it uses Sunny Days. It's like, okay, this is going to be using like Chlorophyll's ability or something like Solar Beam or Solar Blade, something like that. Something along those strategies, right? Here comes the Solar Beam, and I wasn't sure whether Golospot would be actually able to live this one. Not that I really cared about it living too much at this stage. It's already taken, a heavy amount of damage. So here comes the Solar Beam on Golospot, and that is going to be too much for us. So bye-bye, Golospot. Things are really desperate now. So I've got Turtonator, and I've only got, like, that's it. Turtonator, one other Pokemon. That's all I've got left, so it's not looking too good. A Cloyster, that's my other one. So Turtonator's going to be swapping in here. I was like, you know what? It's time to go for Dynamax. I've got to get myself back into this game. I've only taken out a Ninetales and a Pangod. There's 4 other Pokemon, and there's that Calyrex too, which is going to be scary. With, like, even any grass move, like, so scary to this thing. So here we go. We're going to go for Dynamax Turtonator here, and I can go for Max Flare coming off Shell Trap. I really only did this when I had no choice to, because, I mean, technically I still was using the move, but it was Max Flare instead of, Shell Trap. But I only did this when I absolutely had no choice. At this stage, I really did have no choice. So Solar Beam is going to do nothing. I don't think Petillier's got a lot of coverage outside of Grass-type moves. It's common Grass sort of curse there. And that's going to be enough to easily take it out. So I've got 2 more turns of Dynamax here. I want to see if I can make use of the Max Flare as much as I can. Next Pokemon is going to be Spiritomb. So Spiritomb is going to be annoying because it's going to be bulky. And I don't believe I'll be able to one-shot it, especially if it's going to be Dynamax as well. Maybe if it wasn't Dynamax, I definitely had a chance, but certainly not when it's going to be Dynamax. So I don't know whether this is going to have Max Guard either, or just a status move to use Max Guard, but I was like, if I can get one shot off against it, that'll be at least decent, and then I might be able to, maybe set up on it with Cloyster, but it'll be difficult too, because I'll be forced to go for a Shell Smash. So I was trying to, think of all these things at the moment. So Max Flare does a really, really big amount of damage there. That would have taken Spiritomb out if it didn't Dynamax. And here comes a Max Phantasm, which does nothing to my Turtonator, which is good. So I'd say this is more invested in bulk, unless it's coming off a really, really weak move. So we've got another Max Flare here, and that is going to be the end of Spiritomb. So that's really, really good. So that's the end of my opponent's Dynamax, which is very good, because I'm really struggling for damage now, especially after my Dynamax is worn off. So the Sunlight has gone, which isn't all that bad, I guess, for Cloyster. And the next Pokemon to come out, of course, is going to be Calyrex. Now, I have to think about this. What move is this going to do, right? Because I know that it's Choice Scarf. I've seen a couple of the moves. I don't think it's going to go for Giga Drain. I was like, it's probably going to go for Psyshock, and it does go for Psyshock. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Now, Psyshock still does a fair bit of damage to me, and I'm thinking, let's do this strategy. So I'm going to go for Toxic, and then I was like, what if I swap into my Cloyster now? So if I swap into my Cloyster, that means it's going to get hit on the defensive side because of because of Psyshock. If this was Psychic, it'd be a different story, but I'm going to make use of Cloyster's high defense stat and swap it in here and sort of work between them. That was the idea anyway. At very least, this might be, this might actually cause a swap on the Calyrex. So here comes the Psyshock, and I take that very well. It's like a you know, a 4 to 5 hit KO. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't really want to lose any more health yet. Let's get that toxic stall happening a little bit more. So I went back into my Turtonator here, and we got another Psyshock. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I might be able to keep my Turtonator alive and swap it out here for the very last Pokemon. I wasn't really sure what sort of set I was running, but I wanted to keep maybe one shell trap left in case something bad happened, which, you know, is definitely a possibility. So going back into Cloyster now, I know that I can live another 2 Psyshocks, and I know this thing will outspeed me before a Shell Smash, you know? So here's another Psyshock on my Cloyster. I can live like, I'd say 2 to 3 more of them. 3'd be pushing it, but, you know, probably 2. So a little bit more poison on the Calyrex. Here comes another Psyshock on my Cloyster. This turn I went for the Shell Smash. Yeah, I wouldn't have lived another one, so I have to outspeed the Calyrex this turn, which I know that I can because I'm running max speed, and they'll outspeed a Choice Scarf Calyrex. So Calyrex is actually going to... Actually, no, Calyrex are going to faint from the poison this turn, so that's really, really good. So bye-bye Calyrex. That was a huge threat in this matchup. Now, the last Pokemon, I wasn't really worried about at all because he was only a baby Pokemon, and that was Litten. Did anyone figure out what this team was as well, this Steam team? So it's going to use Endure. I'm like, oh no, I smell a rat. Something's going on here. So I went for the Ray Shell. It didn't miss. How funny would that be if it missed and then Litten would have had to go for another Endure? And Litten is going to live on 1 health. And I had a feeling something was going to happen here. Did it have a berry? It must have a berry, right? That's what I'm thinking. So a little bit of health there from the Shell Bell, and Litten's going to be eating a berry. I'm like, I wonder what this berry's going to be. And it had a Custard Berry, and a Custard Berry Overheat. I'd say its ability would have been Blaze too, and there was no way that Cloyster would live that. Man, that was a nice strategy with Litten there. However, Turtonator will be able to live an Overheat, because I know how bulky this thing is and how resistant it is. So I believe I can live it. We got the Litten go for Endeavor. I lived on 1 health, and I missed with Toxic. I literally missed with Toxic. So I was like, okay, let's go for Shell Trap here, and then Litten goes for Overheat. Man, that was so unlucky. All I had to do was land 1 Toxic off to finish the Litten, and unfortunately it missed. I'm so salty about that one. Thank you for watching both battles. Hope you had fun. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Peace out, people.